Let's dive into the full narrated chapter of One Piece 1123, right after the intro. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Before we get into the content of this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Now, let's get to the video. Chapter 1123 of One Piece is titled The Two Empty Weeks. On the cover, Pilgrimage of the Golden Harvest Substitute by Yamato, Ogre Child, Vol of 11. The punishment is eating Odin with the one you hate. On the first page, we see Denjiro, Yamato, and the children who were throwing rocks a few chapters ago, now all eating together and enjoying a happy atmosphere. Page initial note, the consequences of hockey. We hear someone calling, likely from Marine headquarters. Egghead Island, respond. What is your current status? But there's complete silence, no response from the Marine ships surrounding the island. The reason? Everyone has passed out on the ground. We see all the Marines lying on the ground drooling. Even the Vice Admirals have collapsed. Little Doll is also unconscious on the ground. In another panel, we see that the Seraphim S. Sneak is still in her bubble. She's trying to help Vice Admiral Doberman, who's also passed out and drooling. S. Sneak says, "Wake up everyone. The Straw Hats are escaping." Page 2. One of the giants looks through binoculars and is shocked. "Wow, all the Marines have passed out," shouts the giant. Froggy says, "Really? That's incredible." Dory adds, "This seems even stronger than the red-haired one, but I didn't sense any hostility from it." Luffy, still in his Nika form, laughs and says, "Thanks for everything, giant robot Shishishi." But in the next panels, we see the giant robot unresponsive, shut down. Double spread pages. 3 and 4, Dory says, "Okay, let's go while everyone's still asleep." Froggy replies, "Yeah, let's get out of here, Gabababa." The giants laugh. "Haha, you heard the captains, let's go you bastards. Ha ha ha." As we see the Elbaf ships next to the Sunny, the giants shout, "Let's head to Elbaf." In small panels, we see Bonnie as a child sleeping on top of Kuma. Zoro exhales in relief in one panel. In another, Usopp smiles while crying, waving to Dory and Broggy. Chopper does the same. In another panel, we see Luffy, deflated, with his tongue out, lying in Nami's arms. Sanji then approaches Vegapunk's body and says, "I don't understand this, Vegapunk. Those things you said, is this how your trick worked? Is that it? I wasn't paying much attention, but you said some crazy stuff." Page 5. Text, 2 weeks ago. Someone says, "There are some anomalies coming from the plant." Another says, "Can you repeat that? Monitor any fluctuations in particle density and neutron flow." We see that it's Shaka talking with Vegapunk's Stella, and Pythagoras is also with them. Shaka says, "The energy used by the Seraphims was supposed to increase gradually over time. This might be a serious miscalculation." Pythagoras says, "Wait, aren't these numbers different from our previously confirmed readings?" Stella responds, "Yes, and the reaction rate is also increasing, but the plant seems stable." Shaka says, These data seem to indicate that someone has tampered with the mother flame to steal its energy. Every single piece of data related to the plant has been carefully altered. To do this, the culprit must be..." Page 6. With wide eyes and sweating, Stella says, "A Vegapunk? It must have been Lilith." Shaka replies, "I fear we three are the only ones with unassailable alibis." He continues, "A massive amount of energy was stolen, so we need to monitor the other four to determine who is responsible, especially Lilith. We need to put our brains in offline mode, stealth mode too. If our memories of this are uploaded to the punk records, then the culprit will know we're onto them." Xbox. 1 week before the present. Pythagoras says, "Attention, I've identified the culprit. It's York." We see Stella and Shaka in shock. "What?" As we see York drooling and sleeping, the Vegapunks converse. Pythagoras says, "The memories she synced with the punk records are fake. I also confirmed that the surveillance snails at the crime scene were tampered with." Stella and Shaka say, "Why would she do such a thing? And I was wrong about Lilith." Shaka then says, "I also found evidence suggesting someone deployed the armed sea beasts without authorization." Pythagoras says, "A white interference transponder snail was also found in our investigation." Stella says, I know. We can reconstruct the call data directly from our long-distance transponder snail. Then we see them looking at the Denden Mushi. Bzzz. Dr. Vegapunk is researching the Void Century. With his hand on his head, Stella says, she called Mary Geoice. No wonder Cypher Paul keeps coming here to spy. Page 8. Presentation text. 6 days before the present, Vegapunk Stella says, the kingdom of Lulusia was wiped out. The details are still a bit murky, but I have a bad feeling about this. He continues, Pythagoras, monitor any changes in sea levels and keep an eye on all wireless transmissions. Pythagoras says, yes, sir. Shaka then asks, do you think this has something to do with the theft of the Mother Flame? Stella responds, I'm sure of it. That part of the flame must have been delivered to the government by one of the armed sea beasts. Now with his hand on his head and stress lines in his eyes, Stella says, if I may indulge in pure conjecture, it seems plausible that the world government possesses one of the ancient weapons, and they must have needed the energy from the Mother Flame that York stole to power it. We'll see if the evidence backs up my conclusion. Even if this deduction is sound, it's hard to say it out loud. He continues, it's my fault after all. Only a fool lets his greed run wild, and I went and personified mine. Page 9. Someone says, is there any benefit in capturing York now that we know? Stella, looking down, says, no, it's too late for that. York's motives are irrelevant now. They will still come to erase anyone who knows about the Void Century. York has already proven her worth to them by recklessly handing over the Mother Flame. The best we can do is use that trust as an opportunity to figure out their intentions with the flame and try to mitigate the damage. Shaka then says, Stella, we still have a chance to escape if we flee now. Stella then says, prepare a boat for the other Quasar residents. They still have a chance to escape Egghead, but it will be impossible for us. By now, the Navy will have issued secret orders to all branches and bases. They will hunt us to the ends of the earth, and our inevitable deaths will be meaningless. As we see the center of Egghead, Stella continues, at least here in Egghead, we have something that O'Hara didn't have 22 years ago. Page 10. Stella says, what exactly is the world government? If I have to die, I'll make my life count. Stella says, I apologize for getting you too involved in all of this. Shaka says, don't be silly, we're Vegapunks, just like you. Shaka and Pythagoras say with conviction, we're all thinking the same thing. Then we see an incredible page with Vegapunk's giant head inside the water tank. Shaka says, just one problem, Stella. What exactly constitutes death for someone like us? Stella says, good point. Page 11. Someone says, there's another thing we must protect, our Cloudloft technology to manufacture island clouds. It could be crucial in saving humanity in the near future. Then we see York, who arrives where the ancient robot is. York says, huh? Stella, what are you doing here? Stella says, oh, it's you, York. You know, same old stuff. Stella continues, if our experiments to optimize the Mother Flame allow this thing to move again, it would be a huge breakthrough in creating our ideal energy source. York says, that's right, it would be amazing if we could get it done soon. Stella says, yeah, but in her thoughts, Stella says, I can only pray that it's never perfected. Page 12, text box, 2 days ago. Shaka says, come on, speak up, the recording has started. Stella then says, ahem, testing, 1, 2, hello, attention world, hello everyone. This is Dr. Vegapunk, the humble genius scientist. As we see the ancient robot in the background, we see them recording on top. Stella says, what I'm about to say may come as a shock, okay, but everyone has the right to know the truth. Meanwhile, Shaka says, no one will imagine that the main Denmushi is hidden here. My death is the trigger that will send the recording to the whole world. Page 13. Now we see the 3 Vegapunks lying down. Stella says, let's make sure no one discovers our plan. Any change in our behavior might seem strange. So erasing our memories is the best choice. As we see Egghead in the background, Stella continues. That said, the consequences, we'll lose our memories of everything related to this. The fact that York stole the Mother Flame, and the fact that our lives are hanging by a thread. We'll see all these bombs again. Shaka says, indeed. Stella then says, the fear of death will be something new for us, but we have countermeasures prepared. Even if everything goes wrong, we will still emerge victorious in the end. Page 14. Then after a shock, we see the three getting up and saying, why are we in the memory lab? What are we doing here? Stella says while picking up a sheet. This is my handwriting. On the paper it says, "Good morning, everyone. You'll notice that you don't remember the last 2 weeks, which were deleted by your own choice. Several things will be a surprise to you," which ironically is quite amusing, but I'll tell you one thing. Page 15. The world government found out about the research on the Void Century. Stella widens her eyes and says, "What? How did they find out?" The text continues, "I've made all the preparations, just trust yourself and die." Stella, widening her eyes again, says, "Set, am I telling myself to die?" Then we see several events. Stella, the crew of Yonkou, Straw Hat Luffy, and Bonnie have arrived on the island. Stella says, "What? The CP0 is also arriving." Stella says again, "What?" And a fleet from the Navy is blocking the island. Once again, Stella says, "What?" Again, the voice says, "Admiral Kizaru and Gorosei Saturn are with them." Stella says again, "What?" Then, we see the moment when Vegapunk talks to Sanji when they are in Tank 8 along with Atlas and Frankie. Stella says, "After rescuing Bonnie, I think it's best for me to stay still." Sanji says, "Huh? Are you going to die?" Stella says, "You don't need to help me escape. I've thought about it. Just let me die here." Frankie says, "What? Are you going to die here?" Page 16. Stella says, "Far from it. But I believe that my death will bring something important to the world." Sanji says, "That would be really bad. We can't just stand by and watch you die. We have to do something." Then Vegapunk says, "Oh, and just one more thing. It's about the One Piece." Sanji says, "What about it?" In the last panel, while we see the giants celebrating, one shouts, "Let's join our old friends." Usopp is cheering, "Let's go to the land of my dreams, Elbaf." Bragi is holding the deflated Luffy in his hand. Vegapunk completes the sentence in Sanji's memories, "And I wish you all to find the One Piece." Final text, thinking 2 steps ahead. End of the narrated chapter with no break next week. That was the full narrated chapter. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell. See you next time, and thanks.